All right, bear with me while I get this thing adjusted here. Is that looking all right? We're seeing just the front page of that. Okay. All right, sorry guys, thanks for bearing with me. Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to the first open studio of 2022 for ATOA. We have reserved space for several artists to present their works tonight, but we're also inviting our audience members who may not have gone into the queue ahead of time to also share their works after the initial presentation. So if you'd like to do so, just add your name to the chat, and then we can call your name after the initial open screening and have you share your screen to show your images after we finish the first presentations here. So yeah, we can get started. My name is Kristin Eichenberg. I am the programming coordinator here at ATOA, and I'll be moderating tonight's screening. So we have a lot of new members here in the audience, so I just wanted to say welcome and thank all of you for joining us tonight. I'm really excited to see your work and to hear your ideas. So this is my first open studio. I haven't moderated open studio before, but we're just gonna show 6 to 8 images and give each person around like 6 to 10 minutes. Try not to go over 10 so we can have enough time for everyone. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone's work. So before we start with that, I just want to let you guys all know about our program next week. On Monday, May 2nd, we will be doing an open dialogue on the theme Artists React to the Whitney Biennial. I've not seen it myself yet, but I'm planning to go this week so that we can all discuss together. So we're just doing this as kind of like an opportunity for everyone to share their reactions and their critiques for the exhibition. It's recently been described as one of our members as the show that artists love to hate, which I think is fitting. So I hope you guys join us for that. Tonight's open studio, we will be giving artists the opportunity to display and talk about their work in a non-curated manner. And we've invited everyone to share a combination of recent works, ongoing works, works in progress, and just give us some insight into their practice and what they're up to. So you can definitely add your comments and questions to the chat. We'll have kind of like an open dialogue at the end to discuss some questions and comments we might have together. But if you want to message me, if you want me to facilitate a question for you, welcome you to do that. So I'll start off by showing some of my work before we get to everyone else we have queued up tonight. We have Rosemary, Sosa, Andy, Douglas unfortunately is feeling sick and won't be able to show his stuff, but we still have Jane here and Olya and Samantha. And also Kate, I think, was ready to show her work as well. So we'll have you do a screen share after everyone goes. So, whoops. Can everyone hear me okay? It's always hard to know. The volume, everything. Okay. Hello.
Excuse me 1 second. Yeah, I'm Karen Whitman. Am I scheduled to speak tonight?
It must be, yeah.
What was that?
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you confused my name with Kate or something, but I don't know. If I don't see Kate's name there. But anyway,
yes,
I'm good. Good. I am.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you up first in the queue, the slideshow here. So
Okay, great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Karen. All right, so yeah, I'm a visual artist and creative writer. Been writing poetry for some time, and I find that my visual practice is really trying to connect these two things, or for visual art and poetry to have kind of this conversation with each other. So a lot of my works recently have been dissecting and reconstructing archival material, and they often take form through what I think of as an instruction-based practice. This work, Graduation, on the left is one of my most laborious works that I completed in 2021 for my graduation for my bachelor degree, but it was based off of this quilt that was made for me by my mother and her sisters for my high school graduation. So I kind of wanted to participate in that family lineage of like where I first saw creativity in my life. And with Graduation, all of the pieces were really just inactive records, drawings, pieces from my sketchbook, notebooks, photographs, just different paper materials that I kind of had kept stored away for the 10 years since I graduated high school. And I wanted to kind of bring them back out into the light and make them have a unity and kind of this distinct form. So in a lot of ways, this was a work that kind of questioned value and sentiment, with the pattern itself, meaning I had to cut apart these pieces and decide what would be preserved or omitted. And I think in this, the shedding was equally as psychological as material, and was kind of in an effort to mobilize the work in a way, or in a sense of like affording myself spatial affordability with like condensing these things into one form. So these are just some details from that work. And combining all these like disparate kind of entities, you could say, like these things from different time periods, they kind of just like had this new life and meaning when they're put so close together and make new images and new associations. So I am continuing another iteration of this work at the moment. This I'm calling Masters. It's a work in progress that's composed of all of my undergraduate essays that I am now cutting apart and putting, as I think I just said, in the same pattern as Graduation, kind of as a continuation of that work, but for the purpose of dissecting and cutting apart not just language, but academic language, and attempting to use that as a sort of poetic device is the intention for this piece. So let me just see here. Okay, yeah. So with this, I'm trying to kind of release myself from the constraint of academic writing, writing poetry and going back to essays, and kind of like not sure how to like do both at the same time, almost, because they're very different frames of mind, but in kind of just, I guess, subverting this style of language and structure, and cutting it up with the material. I'm also just kind of borrowing lines and fragments from the essays and drafting them into poems. So on the right here, I have one of the operational poems that resulted from kind of doing scans of this piece. And I think I'll just leave it there and not reset it for all of you. It might take too much of the time we have here. So I'll just move to the next work I have here, which is just an ink drawing on newspaper. I kind of wanted to show this to kind of look at how the visual artwork kind of aids poetry in a different way here. This line here in this drawing, it says, "It was then I noticed the freckle had disappeared from my palm, an angel's kiss painlessly revoked before my eyes." And this was something that was in a couple drafts of poems I was working on. So it had like this like rhythmic quality that was just like ruminating for me. So, I mean, like these drawings, like these are the kind of materials that went into graduation where, you know, I didn't put that much importance on them. They're very much like stream of consciousness, like kind of build up. But I kind of like looked at this then and, you know, realized for these works, they kind of offer me guidance for like how I'm editing my writing too. So kind of having like the clarity of that line come through and the memory of that kind of showed me that I needed to carve out like a better entrance for that in the poem itself. So how like that relationship kind of goes both ways, I guess, with like the visual and the writing for me. So this is a line in The Curtain, which I will read for you. The words are kind of blurry, but it says, "I've resisted telling you what internal pitch of mine has finally eroded the rocky skin where the reservoir slept, so soundly beneath the song, which played and thinned the mantle cloaking the heart of it. My heart walked around for days amidst disbelief that danced and shimmered in hideous pools of illumination, who lied back to the long shadows cast by the gate of mirrors surrounding our plastic house. I could love the alien tree so effortlessly without you. In the silence that reverberates your empty presence, I stood upon the iron skirt, laid over its cold earthen bed, grazing the virgin vein that emerged from its newborn leaf. It was then I noticed the freckle had disappeared from the center of my palm, an angel's kiss painlessly revoked before my eyes, heartline, headline, and lifeline, crossing seamlessly without blemish or blessing." And finally, I just want to show you one of the artist books I had finished last year that I'm also beginning a new iteration of. So this is City Literature. It's a collection of found objects that I took from the streets and put into these kind of envelope like pages. I'm kind of forgetting the specific term for the folding technique, but it's using architectural vellum and kind of preserving these very like mundane, could say like useless or like meaningless objects, but like together again, the way they lay over each other and become this kind of like story that the reader has to narrate. That is something that also helped me kind of start a new work where I'm doing the same thing, but just focusing on collecting pieces that have handwriting on them. So if you open invitation, if you have some ephemera, like some handwriting pieces you find, I would love to include them in the next City Literature book. So we'll move on to Rosemary.
Thank you so much, Kristin. Hi, my name is Rosemary Haynes. I'm a photographer who's originally from Western Massachusetts. The images I'll be sharing with you today are from an ongoing project titled Arnica, which I formally began just under a year ago, last May. I've chosen to start with this image that is titled A Gift in the Emulsions. The image depicts my older sister, Norma Jean, in her childhood bedroom. In the image, she holds open a family photo album. Sitting beside her is my younger brother, Sam, examining the photographs which the album contains. You can go to the next slide, Kristin. Central to Arnica's narrative is the life and archive of my late stepmother, Heather, who passed away 3 days after the birth of her first child, my younger brother, Sam. Arnica is a project concerned with themes of memory, motherhood, and a reimagining of the family album. It's a project which assumes the responsibility of being vulnerable for myself and for my loved ones. This vulnerability is something I'm still figuring out. It is a task of record keeping. It's as much the images I show you today as the moments we share as a family away from the camera. A ballad, a storybook, and a family album. Next slide. This image is a rephotographing of a drawing made by my stepmother. I'm curious about what it means to bring together the personal archive with notions of a formal one. When a notebook belonging to my late stepmother exists on a personal bookshelf, what does it mean to photograph it in display and to share it with an audience? Yeah, next slide. Okay, great. Two portraits of my brother and sister, making reference to what are historically known as hidden mother photographs. The right image, an accidental double exposure of Sam's hand. A flatbed scan of words written by my father sometime in 2007, before Heather went into labor. A piece of paper turned digital, now a JPEG in a folder on my computer. An image of my father, present day. Exists as a TIFF, a PSD, a JPEG, a 4x5 negative, and a 16x20 gelatin silver print. Many questions still linger for me on how to include what I now refer to as Heather's archive within Arnica. What proximity does a flatbed scan of a poem by Heather offer to us? How does the proximity change when the same poem is photographed? Or I'll ask you now, how does the proximity change when the poem is read aloud? This is a story about a woman. This is a story about a woman in blue who reaches for the sun. A sunbathed, earth-shaken woman who's taken a rest. This is the story of her hands, hands that reach in the sun for the sun, dip into the golden, honey-dripping sun pool, and is embossed up to her elbows in gold leaf evening gloves. And yeah, that's, no, it's okay. That's all I have. I tried to keep it concise. So I hope we can, I'm looking forward to hearing from others and yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you so much, Rosemary. All right, we'll go right on to Sosa.
Hey,
Hi,
Kristin.
Sosa. What's up?
Good.
Good to see you.
See you. Thanks for having me on this. This is really
Yeah,
nice.
thanks for being here.
Hey everyone. My name is Sosa. I'm a visual artist and filmmaker. Was born in Nigeria and raised in New York, but I'm currently living in London at the moment. And yeah. We can start the
Oh
slide.
wow, what is it in London? I thought you were back in New York. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. No, actually, yeah, I thought I was gonna come back some months ago, but I just never. Yeah, I don't feel like coming back. I think I'm gonna be.
Okay, that's fair. All right, go ahead.
So this is my favorite image. I think the first time I saw it, it just like stopped me. The eyes and then his neck and then just the way he's positioned was just really, really captivating and haunting for me, and I've just been very inspired by it. And um, it's from a book called Life and Afterlife in Benin by Okwe Enwezo. And what he did was like he basically curated works of 9 photographers from Benin. And because what they did was they traveled to Benin to like just to find people that were sort of like trapped between the pre-colonial past and post-colonial future, and sort of like just like showed them in a more like natural sense. And so each of the characters in the book had a very like surreal presence that was just really haunting and very like mystifying, and I just found that very, very, very interesting. And that's my favorite picture, so that's why I added that to the group of images that I'm talking about today. And I grew up close to this house in Benin. I went back 2 years ago for the first time since I left in 2014, and I just felt like taking a picture of it. And then yeah, just loved the colors, and then the wall, and then the house as well. It's just very, very beautiful, almost glossy in a sense. And yeah. And then my grandma's house in Benin, where I was raised. I was just walking down the hallway and I just took a picture of it because I just found it really interesting. And the blurry shot kind of just like fits my vibe in a sense. Yeah, and I've never seen this two guys before. I was just in a car with my uncle, and I just like turned to my right and I saw them. I took a picture of them, and yeah, it just really stuck with me ever since. And my aunt was having a traditional wedding, and basically what they do is they like cover themselves in all red, and they just like walk around the house and just like gather people around them for some form of like moral support, and they cheered around till they find her husband. And I just quickly grabbed a picture of her because she looked really beautiful. My cousins, and we were just walking down around Benin, and I just grabbed a quick one of both of them. Found it really interesting how just like natural the pictures, like all of the pictures, it just happened really naturally. I never like set out to like take a picture of them. It just magically happened in its own way, which I love about it. And I loved how the tattoo was just sitting there, and his smile and his shadow and the hands. It's just really, really beautiful. Next.
Do you want me to play
I don't.
a
If you
clip?
want to, I don't mind. I don't mind. I can.
Hold on. Oops. Okay, I guess I'll have to do this window. Sorry, I had this working before.
Okay.
Sorry about the playback, the windows, and everything. I'm usually not this bad with the Zoom presentation. But did you want to add anything about possession?
Um, my, because I used to like, as a kid, I would like, my mom would take me to go watch performances like that. And then I like recently, because I'm also into performance now. So, and I've been like researching about like movement videos from like Nigeria, like actual traditional dancers. And I tried to like piece them all together in like in a child's point of view, sort of like going back to my childhood and like how a kid will like watch them was how I edited the videos. So these are all like found footages that I just like played around with. I added some new sounds that I made. And then, yeah, so just to like, I guess, reconnect with my childhood in the past and all of the things I remember seeing. I sort of like reflecting on that by making this video. And yeah, it was really fun to play around with.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful dance. Do you know, or can you tell us anything more about the dance
Yeah,
that we're seeing in the video?
they're called masquerade. So basically they dress in like this as you can see, like this attire, and it's very like exaggerated. They have like this like magical presence. So basically no one just like stands too close to them. You kind of like have to respect them, or like just because it's all an act, you know. They sort of like embodying this like otherworldly being. So it's not like a normal communication with them. Whenever they put on that attire, you're not gonna speak to them as you would speak to like a god or something. So that's why they're dancing around, and people are like chasing them with sticks, because it's like it's not like a linear method of like communication. It's very like weird, surreal, but also just really artistic as hell, which is very fascinating. I don't know much of it, but that's some of what I can remember.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sosa. All right, Andy, what's up? Hi.
My name's Andy Strom. I want to say thanks to Kristin for inviting me to this, and everyone who showed their work so far has been incredible. So yeah, get into it. I hope we can open up the floor also to talk about people's work too, because I want to like.
Yes.
Are we gonna do that at the end of?
Yeah. Maybe we should have. Maybe we'll structure it different next time, but that's the plan. We're just gonna go through everyone's and then
cool
discussion. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So yeah, this is the first piece that I got, and I threw this stuff together last minute. A lot of this stuff, so no titles and all that. I got it, but this is a piece. I found this tree on the street in New York when I used to live there. I was living with Kristin at the time, actually.
He brought a tree home.
Yeah, so I brought this tree home from the street, and it's about maybe 5.5 feet tall, and I sanded it and then coated it in polyurethane so it won't rot or anything, and then turned it upside down. And then the flag that I have I've used as like a cloth to paint on, to do everything on. So I've kind of abused it, and it's ripped up and coated also in polyurethane and paint and stuff. And then I have a recorder that I got from a friend of mine, a real close friend of mine. It means a lot to me. And then the cassette that I have there is a private recording that was made for me by that friend who, and I won't get into it. It's this person is no longer in my life and all this and stuff, and there's a lot of emotion that goes in there. But I think that for me, this piece is something that is kind of it's private in a way. I wanted to show it. The stuff that on that cassette, you know, no one else is ever going to hear it besides me. And there's an image on there that I collect images, and I added that one to the cassette just from a newspaper that I found way back, and it just felt fitting. So yeah, it's just a picture of somebody holding someone on the ground, and you can't really tell if they're being held there or if they're being held, you know. So yeah, it's something that's personal for me, and something that speaks to I guess just things that I've lost, you know, and also things that I want to share and preserve. So yeah. So this is just a close up of the image, and it's wrapped. Again, I just wrapped it with it's secured to the tree with it's like cemented on there, but then also I wrapped it with saran wrap too, just because I liked how it looked. So then the image to the right, on the right side, is I have 3 images. They're all like big posters that I have printed out, and real shitty printing, nothing fancy, and just taped up on my wall, but they're pretty big. And they're all images that I took, digital images. I went to Parsons for a while for photography, and that was short-lived. And I was doing a lot of film there, and I haven't been doing a lot of film in the past couple of years. Ever since I left, I've been trying to do stuff with digital photography, since I feel like it's kind of the medium for now. You know, everything's digital and stuff. So I tried to get into that, and instead of like doing all the technical stuff with film is so intricate and everything's so technical, and there's so much you can do with it. You know, I just completely shifted from that and went to a digital point and shoot, real cheap camera, and I've been shooting images. So all 3 images, Kristin, you can go to the next one if you want. All 3 of these images are from a trip, are from Europe. I was in Portugal, in Lisbon a couple months ago. And so these photos are all from there. And the images, again, I used to be doing portraits. Did a lot of portraits when I was shooting film and in school in New York. And I've moved away from that, and I've just been taking still shots from more my point of view of just my experience and whatnot. I think.
Sorry.
Yeah,
These ones are blown up too, like they're.
yeah, they're real big. They're 24 by 36, so it's like.
Oh wow, yeah.
Size. So all 3 of them are pretty big, and yeah, they're just duct taped under the wall and just threw them up there. I saw this Wolfgang Tillmans show, or like some of his work at, what was it, MoMA, and he had all his stuff just taped up, like these, you know, priceless photographs were just taped up. And when I saw that, I was like, I don't think I'm ever gonna frame anything again. Like, this is great. But so yeah, so they're just duct taped up, and these images for me are of scenes that I've seen with my own eyes, that I've lived, that I've been. And so for me, they, you know, carry a specific emotion, and for you know, maybe a little melancholy, maybe a little lonely, but you know, there's something I feel that these images can convey more than a portrait can, in a way, because it's my experience and I know about my experience. You know, if I'm taking a photo of someone, sometimes I think it's harder for me to speak on their experience. It might feel, in the past, I've taken photos and I'm like, oh, this feels a little intrusive almost, you know? So I think I'm taking photos of, you know, just images that I, you know, no portraits specifically, has really allowed me to feel comfortable, I guess, with the images I'm taking. So yeah. And then
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I was knocked off, so I can't see anything. Can you get me back on, Kristin? The Zoom? Somehow,
Oh.
yeah,
You can see the share screen?
excuse me?
You're saying you can't see the screen?
No, I was knocked off. I don't have any, I'm on Zoom, but I got knocked off your,
It's showing me that you're still in our meeting, but if you can't see the share screen, maybe you want to leave the meeting and rejoin with the same link. It's on the website.
yeah, let me do that again. Okay,
I will try rejoining and maybe it will show up for you again, but we can see you.
all right.
So all good.
I'm sorry, everyone, but I wanted to see the work. Let me just start again. I don't know what happened.
All right. So yeah, I would try leaving in
back in.
on the link again. And Marina
See that you have to like it,
go too.
have to launch the meeting for me or something.
Jane, press the red leave button and sign back in. Just leave, get off the thing and rejoin. Otherwise, this is not gonna work. Everyone else, I can see it fine. Can everyone else see it?
Where do I rejoin? I don't see what you're saying.
There's a
Jane, go to where it says leave. That little red thing, leave, and then it'll say leave meeting. Then go back to atoanyc.org and just click on the site.
That's what I did. I clicked on the link.
You're fine.
No, you need to leave the meeting first, though. You see the little red dot? Leave the meeting.
No, I don't have.
Bottom right, bottom right,
bottom right.
bottom
corner.
right, all the way to the right.
I'm sorry, everyone. I don't have it, so it's not there. I'm at the launching page. It says launch meeting.
Oh, you
Allow on the dialogue shown on your browser.
Then you're going to be on twice, though.
I don't know. It's weird. I don't know what.
Do you see on your desktop, do you have a bar of all of your apps on the very bottom of the screen? It'll have like your web browser and it'll throw the Zoom icon.
Tell her to restart her computer.
You can say Zoom, click Zoom.
No, it's fine. Just continue.
Let me get off again.
Just continue.
Let's see.
My meeting, she should be invited in.
Yeah, I have to be invited in. But I don't know why I'm still visible.
I think you just need a quick Zoom.
Kristin, continue with the meeting. I'm sorry, Jane.
All right. I won't be able to see the work. I don't know.
Amy, have you pick up where you left off?
Yeah, all good. Jane, I hope you get it figured out, but we'll power on through and hopefully you can pop back in. But anyway, I will go kind of quickly. This is a sculpture piece that I'm working on as well. I took a piece of wood and it's like a circular canvas, and I sprayed it with an adhesive and then coated it in it's called tinfoil. And then I have a pair of shoes that I wore for like a year that I just put on there. I nailed them on there, hung them. And then I have some styrofoam and a credit card with a Band-Aid on it as well. And this piece is just talking about, I wanted to talk about money, something that we are always looking for, we never have enough of. And from my own experience, I'm adopted, and there's a lot of feelings about money and whatnot, and who's, questions of privilege and being born into it and this and that. And so it's a complex issue for me. And so, yeah, so I wanted to speak a little bit on that. So, and then But yeah, that's this piece. And keep it going.
Yeah, oh, sorry.
That's it.
Oh. Yes, that is the last one we had.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andy.
Yep.
Appreciate it. We're just gonna skip over Doug's because he's not here to speak about his work. Jane, I don't know if you're having any luck seeing the images, seeing the screen. But we have your slides here. Maybe we'll come back to you, Jane, once everything's working for you. I'm so sorry. You're muted right now, but just give me the heads up. Give a shout out when you can see it and when you're ready. So we will go. Sorry, guys. We'll come back to Jane. We'll go to Olya. Hi. Oh, you're muted. Still. Oh, you're muted, Olya. You're muted.
Yeah, Olga Alexander, and I'm installation artist, painter, and jewelry designer. And I thought, since I work in various formats, I wanted to concentrate on the jewelry because there are really miniature versions of my larger work, not in a direct way, sometimes in an indirect way, mostly in an indirect way. And you will hopefully see as I present these slides. This is a fluorescent silk screen piece called Splashes. Well, it's called Splashes now. It used to be called something else. As I revise my work, I change the titles very often. These are photographs that I've photo silk screen on fluorescent plexiglass that I've taken. And if you go to the next piece, there is the jewelry. It's also fluorescent plexiglass. I love the material. I'm inspired by various materials, primarily plexiglass, because they emit a glow and they're transparent and very light. And hopefully you could see some of the influence of the previous piece in this, which contains painted paper, metal mesh, and monofilament. And it's a 3D sculpture that has multiple views, so the wearer can wear it front and back. And it's very similar to the other plexiglass piece that's a sculpture, because also you could see the images both ways, and the light is projected onto the wall, so there's a lot of shadows going on. Okay, the next slide. This is a sculpture, again with a fluorescent top. It's called Synaptic Incubations of Another Kind. I'm really interested in neuroscience a great deal, the environment, and synapses and how they relate to the way we think and how they influence the way we think. And so this is a larger version, about 5 inches by 4 by 4, with a lot of tubing, painted paper, monofilament, and again, I miniaturized this idea into the form of jewelry. So the next one. And this is a pin. It's made up of fluorescent plexiglass that I've painted and I've molded together. And this more or less lays in one view. Most of the jewelry has multiple views, but this is the front version of this. And my goal is one day to really have a huge installations that mimic the jewelry, so I could go back and forth, basically. At the moment, the reason I'm concentrating on the jewelry as opposed to some of my other pieces, is that I want to find a new way of presenting these to consumers, basically. I mean, artists get it, but not all consumers who are not artists get it. And these are featured on my website. So I'd like to devise another bit of content for that's more accessible to a wider audience. But I like these pieces because they do offer so many possibilities for me in terms of installations, which I don't have the space now to do. But I do it in my paintings and again in the jewelry. Okay, the next slide. And this is a necklace. Again, it's a purple fluorescent necklace, and it contains metal mesh and extruded metal with, and I paint them. And again, if you turn it around or even look at it from the side, it offers different views. The front and the back are not the same. So it's very much like a sculpture. And I really consider them to be sculptures. And I don't know if I have another one, but I think this is this, do I have another? Oh, and this is the latest. These are the drop earrings. This is one view of the earrings that dangle and actually move as the wearer moves. And I hand paint them and mold them myself. So again, if I had the space and the grant, this would be a giant installation. But for now, I'm doing them in miniature. And I think that's it for now.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
So
All right.
thanks, Olga.
Okay.
Okay, Samantha, I have you next.
Hello. Can you all see me and hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I don't know why you're not.
Yeah, I'm on video. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you are. Sorry, my bad.
I just want to say to you and Doug, congratulations on convening this event. And I love the fact that there's somebody here from Nigeria. So, and the fact that I grew up in Kenya, East Africa. So I'm founder of Elephant Art Shop and Reputation Dynamics. I do sustainability development as a living, my day job. And then I have Elephant Art Shop, which is based on watercolor paintings, greetings cards, t-shirts with a focus on environmental and social justice issues. So it's art for environmental action. And I give a portion of proceeds every year to charities, such as planting trees, conserving elephants, protecting wildlife species. So this first image that you see, I live in Bearsville. So I was fortunate to buy a house in Bearsville 4 years ago. So I had to make friends with the bears. This is a watercolor painting on canvas. It's roughly 16 by 22. And the spirit of the bear, this bear was roaming around my house. And we have to appreciate bears because bears have tremendous value in terms of their medicine and what they give to us. Many people are scared of bears, but I came to terms with this bear. So I looked him in the eye. I have a lot of focus on the eyes in all of my work because animals are very powerful communicators and we can learn a lot from them. So if you can move on to the next image. So having grown up in East Africa, Kenya, between the ages of 10 and 18, my work is focused on supporting the dwindling elephant population. There were millions of elephants at the turn of the century, and there's only 400,000 left now. These are African elephants. So this little guy, big guy, is called Norfolk. He is rooted to the earth. He is strong. You'll probably notice my theme is to have listening and learning through the ears and the trunk and he's standing on the earth. And Norfolk is named after the Norfolk Hotel, where everybody used to view the elephants after being in Nairobi National Park, and they would sit there on the terrace. So that's the reason why I named Norfolk, and that for their survival and the strength of their tusks. So moving on to the next image. This is Elephant Circus, which I had in the annual member show at Burcliffe. This is based on elephants finding their watering hole. Also, everything is watercolor. This is on paper, but you'll see that they're all championing together. Elephants are a sign of tremendous community and working together for survival. So they're playfully playing with their bubbles, and they're in search of their water hole, which is on the bottom right-hand side. Elephants rely on each other in terms of community, and the orphans do not survive if they're not taken care of, within 2 years. So you got the matriarch in the middle, and you see the tusks in the middle of this painting. And then to the right, there's the uncle. To the top left, there is like a niece, and then you have the babies at the bottom. And they're all working together in harmony, which is what we can learn a lot about wildlife and environmental conservation. So on to the next slide. This is a millennial elephant. I painted this. This is on stretch canvas. It is larger. It's about 28 by 36. The millennial elephant is the one that we're all learning from. It is a sign of the future. He's going to step over any barrier that comes his way, and he's bold and he's a survivor. And this is one of my signature elephants, with everything is brightly colored for the inspiration, for the hope and the survival of our planet for future generations. Is there one more? I can't remember.
Yeah, there's.
Yeah. And this one, I do a lot of work with social justice and equality. This one is 3 women based on the Samburu women, and they are the survivors and the running the household, and they are the ones who are so powerful and going to be the future leaders and inspiration in terms of their color and taking care of the land and their children. And my art is all based around what we can do to help be a collective force in working in social justice and environmental issues. And I really do appreciate the opportunity to share my art. And you can find me at elephantart.samanthatayler.com. And this is a signature piece that I did probably about 10 years ago, where the music and the strength of the kaya tree and the power of drums and music is part of our soul. And this is an inspiration for all of us to be very connected in the work that we do, whatever we're doing in our professions, whether it's art or creating or jewelry or our day-to-day lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha. All right, Jane, are you all set? Sorry. Is it working for you, Jane?
Yes, I'm all here.
Amazing. All right.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jane Dell. I'm a visual artist, a painter, and mixed media artist for the last 50 years. I tend to work in series of interests. Some of it can be pure abstract, but it's usually, I'm usually inspired by something in nature. I know a lot of artists do that, but or shapes that I see in nature. But this series I've been working on for like a year and a half. I was inspired by this movie. It was a documentary called Chasing Coral. And I don't know how many people saw it, but it was a beautifully made documentary about the Great Barrier Reef. And these scientists that were following it for a couple of years and watching it bleach out from the, warming of the ocean. And I was inspired by that, and I was reading more about coral and what's going on. And it made me so upset because they're so gorgeous. There's so many types of corals, and the colors and the shapes and what they do. They're very important in the ocean, So I did an imaginary series based on that. This is one type of coral, and it's my work tends to be between expressionistic and surreal. And these are like modular units. So that you can kind of mix and match them, put them together. These are 16 by 20 inches on cradle board, and they were in a few shows. Then I'm working on larger ones, similar. But these are the ones on cradle boards. So, I imagined a world where these are like precious beings washed up on the beach, and they're trying to survive. I have like a little story in my head, but it could mean different things to different people. But that's basically, I work in acrylics, and these have photo collage, some of them. And a few times I've been in the Caribbean, I've been to St. Martin's, and this was like my memory of, just beautiful, beautiful oceans and beaches. And I wanted to keep that memory before it's all destroyed. So that's what this series is about, And I also love shapes, and I love the shapes of the different corals. There's so many of them, and they can be very abstract and strange looking. So I wanted to give that quality to them, to my work. So this is I think I did 5 of these on these cradle boards. So it's a challenge for me because I usually work on canvas or paper. So it took a long time to kind of build up a surface that I wanted. And then it took me a long time. I have a lot of photographs and old books, nature books, all kinds of stuff. I also look on the internet for images. And, they tend to be a narrative almost. And I wasn't thinking of that. I was thinking of a moment in time that this is happening, but it's ongoing. So that's why I wanted to make it a series like this, So I think I have a picture of a few of them together. You can go to the next one. Yeah, these are like 2 together. So.
Yeah, I like how they all exist in this room.
Excuse me?
I like how they all are existing in this room. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay.
I like how they're all existing in this room, this composition with the different objects and kind of almost like portal-like sort of things happening in the background there.
Some people that don't get it. They think it's so weird. It's a surreal space and it's imaginary, but some of the things that are floating, like the painting on the right, it's really my idea of what's disturbing, giving global warming to the oceans, the pollution and industry. And so I made it into some kind of magical shapes, I wanted to give it some beauty, because it's thinking about bleaching, I just went over the trailer of that movie again, and it's just all white. It's all bleached out, what they're viewing. They show before and the after effects of the warming of the water. And my hope is that it will return, because it can. They said it can return, but you know, not with global warming. You know? So these are the beautiful ones staying alive. I think I had one more after this.
I think
That was
that's,
it. Okay.
yeah, that's all. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the time. And I
Yeah.
hope I inspired someone.
Absolutely. I'll stop now just because I think I didn't want to open the chat while we were presenting. It was
All right.
getting all in the viewport there. So yes, Lawrence, we have time for you to show. We'll start with Karen. Karen, are you ready for a screen share? You good to go? You're muted right now.
Okay, I do think I have to exit full screen, yeah.
We'll have Karen, Lawrence, and then did anyone else want to do a screen share and so show some images? I thought I saw someone raise their hand for a second. Okay.
Okay, is it up? Can everybody see?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. It's interesting that Samantha is from Bearsville, because so am I. I also live in Bearsville, New York, and I know what Birdcliff is. Is she still here? Yeah. Anyway, it's part of Woodstock, New York, and I'm a printmaker. You know, I've been making lino cut prints since 1995. And so what I have here is about a 24 by 36 lino cut, which is an autobiographical portrait of me actually printing at the studio at the Woodstock School of Art. Although at the time that I sketched this, it's been very renovated since, but they didn't have a press in this particular room. So I just put my own press there, which actually used to belong to the printmaker, you know, from the 30s, Isabel Bishop. I married also a printmaker, Richard Pantel, who ended up acquiring this press. So here I am in this busy studio about to crank an inked linoleum block through a press. And on the walls, I have my own work hanging there. I have, you know, like about 15 different prints, which are actual prints of mine, interpreted for the, you know, for the print and hanging on the walls. And, you know, a few autobiographical items on the table, like my steaming cup of tea. And there's a book called Prints, How to Cut Them. And a little booklet called The Inky Pinky, as I wrote some lyrics to the tune of the Hokey Pokey about printmaking, and I called it The Inky Pinky. So there it is. This particular print on the right, and we can make these bigger, can't we? Oh yeah, we can, just by, yeah. This print on the right is called Downtown, and it was actually taken into the collection of the New York Historical Society and used for a show that they had for their 200th anniversary in 2004, 2005, called Impressions of New York, prints from the New York Historical Society. And they took this print called Downtown into their collection, and it's in the book that accompanied the exhibition. Gee, there should be a way for me to just use an arrow to get to the next picture, shouldn't there? I don't know how to access it. That's funny. Maybe if the people along the side here weren't there, I would find it. No, I don't know.
It might just be your arrow keys, down, I don't know what kind of keyboard you have, but there's usually the arrow keys that are sort of on the right side, the left and right.
Yeah, I hit an arrow key. It's not doing anything. Maybe if it was within the image. No. I guess I could stop the share and start a new one, but I should be able to just go right down the line. Anyway, I guess that's what I'll do because I don't know how to get to the other images otherwise. Okay, so here we go.
Out.
Stop the share. And next one. Oh. I think this is it. Can you see this?
Yes.
Yeah, it's called Downtown. That's the one that I was just pointing to on my print called, oh, the other one was called Midnight Run. And it was about 24 by 36. This one is called Downtown and it's 31.5 by 18 inches. And I did this in, actually I did this quite a long time ago in, I believe 2003. The show that it was in 2004, 2005. And it was just, it was, shortly after the attacks on September 11th. And I have New Yorkers here just being resilient in the wake of the, of the attacks, going about their daily business. But I wanted to put in like the post office and the flag and the fire department. And people just doing what they do in New York. And here I've got, it's not a particular spot, but it had a downtown feeling. My work is often inspired by New York, but not necessarily anything I sketched from life. This is from imagination, but later I'll show you one that I did from something I was actually sketching out of a window. But since it had a downtown feel, I put in the Brooklyn Bridge and I sneak in the this loop Clearwater wherever I can. So there it is in the upper left. And if anybody's not familiar with liner cuts, I just, it's very much like a wood cut, except the surface I'm carving into is linoleum. And everywhere where you see that it's white, I had to carve out of the block. And what I left on the surface is what took the ink that I rolled on. And I had to print it on my big Charles Brand etching press, which I have in my home studio. I wish I could just go to the next. Oh, here it says more. Nope. Okay, I guess I'll have to.
I think what you can do is you might be in Zoom right now, but if you switch back to your presentation application, and then you'll be able to control it.
Let me see what happens if I.
Maybe you can even just minimize.
Oh, it was stopped. Sorry. I'll just have to do it again. Okay, the next one is.
Maybe if you open multiple images at a time.
Oh.
This one, then you can go back and forth with the arrow. Open them up.
Oh, well, I've got this here. So there must be a way to access this screen that I'm clicking on right now. But and I see that the images I've already opened are behind these. Anyway, here's another one. This is another big one, about 24 by 36. and it's called Boulevard Boogie. And this was from a, actually, I wasn't on location here, but it is an intersection I found while just cruising around Google Street Maps to see if I could find something I found inspiring. And it was actually a corner in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn. And the only thing that I really kept from it was the shape of the road and the fact that there was a line of stores there. But other than that, I made up the traffic, I made up the people. The gal in the foreground is me, having just exited this taxi is my theory. And so I just made up all the cars and people and just made it a real fantasy city with music shop, cafe, clothing store, meat store, bowling alley, hotel, and a diner. My work tends to have a sort of a retro look about it. And I do like sometimes putting little messages around the print, like here on the taxi, see the sights, enjoy the ride. Messages on the license plate, which say, don't look back. A lot of references to time in this one. And there you have it. This one is called Boulevard Boogie. Let's see, and then I have.
How many more do you have?
I have 3 more. I've shown 3 and I have 3.
Okay, I was just trying to fit in Lawrence because we're supposed to end at around 8:30 is our usual time.
So how many more can I show?
You can show Karen's work. This is wonderful. I am so enjoying
it
this.
is.
Oh, thanks so much.
I'll try to get everyone.
I'll try to do this fast as I can to get these up here. Here we go. Yeah, and this one, oh, it's really came out quite dark looking. Maybe if I make it a little bigger. This one is called Backyards in Winter. And this was looking out of a window at 68th Street off of Central Park West, where family friends owned these buildings until about 2009. And I was sketching right out the window. And this is what I saw. This is my between 67th and 68th, with my back to a church that's on Central Park West and looking toward Broadway. So I just took one tall building from Broadway and just did my own interpretation of the of what I was seeing. So this is about as realistic as I get when I'm actually there and sketching everything that I see. But so pretty much everything was there, although I made up this little scene in the window with the cat, put in the birds. There were actually 8 little plastic chairs here and a dog in the yard there. And but I added a shovel and a snow pile and there you have it. But it was just such a lovely view. And I love this medium because I can, mix so many different textures and patterns together and say a lot without the dazzle of color. So here we go again. This is a completely fantasy picture here, except that I used a reference for the can you see this? Can you see this?
Yeah, we can see it.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, this is called Fantasia on Brooklyn. And this was completely made up. I do often make references to tropical things when I do my work, just for fun, really. Just the contrast of something tropical in the city, like this billboard here. with a couple of palm trees and which echo the 2 water towers here. But I've got my kid, flying his kite. I've got my Juniors of Brooklyn cheesecake truck on the bridge, and little tropical waterfall here, echoing this balcony with the umbrella, and there you have it. People just doing what they do in New York.
Karen, this one reminds me so much of the Triplets of Belleville. Do you know that?
I would love to see that. I love animation. I think I started seeing it at somebody's house and we had to cut it short. But you reminded me that I want to see it again. But the style reminds you of it?
So much.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'll have to have a look. Let's see, stop share again. And this is the last one, and it's a completely different theme because it was based on the pandemic. So this I did in 2020. Is it, I can't see the right-hand side of it because your faces are stacked on the right, but can you see the whole thing?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay, so I didn't get the paper color quite right here. It is a kind of a yellow. But I got something that I felt was kind of close to the color of money. And so during the pandemic, I was so inundated, as everybody was, with all the new information about the pandemic and trying to, stay on top of everything. And it just occurred to me that I wanted to make a statement about the pandemic and how if we all work together, we could all try to eradicate the disease. And so everything I have here is based on the $1 bill. And that was the perfect bill to use because there were opportunities to talk about being unified in it, like my E pluribus unum here, and one cause, one world effort. There actually is the word one on a $1 bill right here. And then I have for balance, cooperation is the key, find a cure, we're all in this together. And instead of Secretary of the Treasury, I have the Secretary of Health and Wealth, and where the signature was, health is wealth. And of course, this is series 2020. And, little statements, flatten the curve, protect your neighbor, thank you for staying home. And yeah, in fact, this was an afterthought, this whole border here. I hadn't carved the linoleum out from that area yet. And then I realized, oh my God, I haven't thanked anybody yet for the part that they're playing in helping to wipe out this pandemic. So I thank the scientists and researchers and the caregivers and the essential workers on the right here. And let's take care of each other. Let's share ideas and resources. Let's be compassionate and kind. The United Globe for Health. This note is to be used only for masks, gloves, and ventilators for corona relief and research. I didn't know the term PPE yet. I could have said that all in very quickly there. But anyway, there's our George Washington in his mask and his hospital gown. Could be you or me. And there you have it. That's Corona Cash. And on the right, I have this little bit about testing there. And this is the one print where I've actually worked my signature into the image itself. And so that's a good smattering of my work. And my work can be seen at karenwhitman.net. And there you have it. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Thank
Wow.
you. Thanks so much.
It's so good. Do you want to add your website into the chat?
Oh, I will. I sure will. Yeah, well, thank you so much. I'm going to stop the share.
Please feel free to add your website and your Instagram, wherever you have work. If you want to share that with everyone, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I've got to get a little more active on Instagram. I do have an account though, and my plan is to get more active on it. But thank you, and thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely.
Right, the chat.
All right.
Good. If we have 2 minutes, I only need 10 seconds an image.
Okay. We
Yes.
got 3 minutes, so yeah.
Hey. There we go. So I'm just showing things I did in the last 2 weeks, and then I'm going to show one piece I did about 4 or 6 weeks ago. And it's curious. We have your etchings, and here is my etching, although this is all photographically done using apps, etc. I do most of my work taking a picture and then using apps almost entirely on my iPad. And I've been experimenting in the last weeks to get away from my normal color palette, and that's what this is. I've been in the same palette for, I don't know, 6, 7 or 10 years.
Dramatic perspective there. Oh, I have to mute myself.
It's okay. It's good to hear. This is the vessel at Hudson Yards. And this is also Hudson Yards. And if I had seen, Karen, your work before I saw this, I would be giving you credit for this, because it really comes from seeing lino cuts. And also Hudson Yards. It's there for the 3rd or 4th time. It's only 3 blocks from me. And I was there for the 3rd time since it was built just last week. And a close-up of the entranceway to the vessel, the world's most expensive art piece. And this was just a few days ago down the South Street Seaport. This is BMW, the Brooklyn, Manhattan, and Williamsburg bridges. I have a new friend that has a place that's on the 30th floor up in on the Upper East Side, and this morning shot out the window. And another. It's actually the same view, but taken 48 or so hours apart in different mornings, different light. This one I did this morning, actually, or last night. I never went to sleep, so. New Yorkers might recognize this, or Greenwich Village people. This is the library on 6th Avenue and in the Village. This is a new residence that opened in one of the old factory buildings, sort of just south of Hudson Yards in Chelsea. And really strange place, because it's very upper scale, so upper scale that you have to be signed in first to this tunnel on the left there in the center of the block. This goes through the block. I am standing out on the sidewalk, and you can see the other sidewalk there. This is one street apart. I think it's 27th. We're looking at 28th, if I'm not mistaken. And that darker area on the left is the entranceway to the lobby, where you also have to be buzzed into. And the people, theoretically this is for safety, but meanwhile the people, it takes them so long to get buzzed into the front gate because it has to go up. It's a car gate as well. It was just curious to me that somebody could totally get mugged between the time they push the button and the gate goes up. That's Mr. Chrysler on the left. And the Manhattan Bridge. This was just before the light disappeared in the afternoon. Again, South Street Seaport. oddly enough, these were all different trips, but they were all made within the last couple of weeks. And oddly enough, I'm not usually ever down there, except when I'm teaching. I'm not teaching right now. And then I'm going to end here. This is our hostess with the mostest tonight. I call this my Warhol. I sent this to you. You didn't see it. You never responded. I guess that's why you didn't respond.
For the screen share, but thank you so much.
Betcha.
And Warholified by Lance. That's a good look. All right. It's 8:32, so yeah, we can wrap everything up. Thanks so much, everyone, for coming and showing your work. It's super generous of you to share with everyone. And I hope we have another one soon so I can do a bit better next time with the time and everything. And,
you did well. You did well.
Eventually we'll be in person soon, so that will be a really nice reunion. And yeah, see the Whitney Biennial this week if you want to weigh in on our discussion for next week. That will be Monday, May 2nd. Let us react to the Whitney Biennial. Be really great for all of us to talk about it together. I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say. I'm excited to see what's up there. Heard a lot of mixed reviews, so yeah, if anyone doesn't have anything else.
Lawrence, I have a question. What in God's name was that woman doing to that dog in that tunnel?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. It was really odd because here was somebody who obviously was well heeled and treating the animal.
The dog could not, the feet could not touch the ground. I mean, so I'm sorry, but what the fuck was she doing with that dog?
Exactly. That's yeah. I don't want to talk about it.
I've stopped not wanting to talk about it, and I say shit to people now. It drives me crazy. All right, thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
all.
Great show tonight.
Have a good night.